Welcome, Benaiah Chapel. Pastor Sam here again today. I'm going to go to part two in my Chase the Lion series here, based on the book by Mark Batterson. And for those of you who may be wondering, yes, I do have permission, as this was part of a thing that I purchased. But the verse is 2 Samuel 23 and 8. And it's really an interesting verse. And we're going to talk basically about one part of it. These are starting in verse 8, 2 Samuel 23. These are the names of David's mighty warriors. Josheb Basabeth, Tachlamanite, was the chief of the three. He raised his spear against 800 men, whom he killed in one encounter. Let the end of that sink in. 800 men in one encounter. What kind of passion and courage did Josheb have to have in order to do that in one encounter? So simple, yet so powerful. And I'm looking at my notes here. So that's all it takes. You're one encounter away from your destiny. You're one encounter away from what God has planned for you. That mighty plan that he has. You are one encounter away. One crazy conversation, right? One crazy idea. One glance across a crowded room to somebody you connect with instantly. One encounter away from what God has ordained for you. What was true then is true now. He was the highest ranking member of David's three. So he had to make a move at some point in time. He had to make a move. And he did. And he did what David had ordered him to do. And he did what God directed him to do. When we pursue our passions that God has given us, we can make the most of every encounter. When you're faithful to God, you produce a ripple effect. You know, we've all thrown a stone into a stream of water or into a pond, and we see the ripples and they go out. But we never really see them end. So that little stone that you throw in, that little word of wisdom, what kind of ripple does it create? I was reminded today of a very dear friend, Mr. Jody Korn. At some point in time in 2024, with everything that was going on, coming into a new election, a new season like that, in one of our conversations, Jody said, "This came to me, and I wished it would have come to me like this." But Jody is one of those who he gets these words, and I'll tell you what, I love the man. I want to love louder than the hate. Love louder than the hate that is in this world. Can we do that? Is that the ripple that you're supposed to be? Is that the ripple that I'm supposed to be? And I'm supposed to love louder than the hate that's around me. I have people who don't want to talk to me because I haven't taken a political stand on here. I am conservative. I do, people know where I stand, but I haven't cut anybody out of my life. But yet people don't want to talk to me, don't want to be around me, don't want to be involved with me. Well, I'm sorry, but I want to create those ripples. Think about the risk that Rahab took when at Jericho. Joshua's spies came into the city. She knew who they were. I think everybody knew who they were. They had heard 40 years in the wilderness, coming in to take over their city. What kind of risk when she let those people down? And what did the spies tell her to do? To go to your house, to stay there, to have all of your family there. Now, most of the houses were in the wall. I'd be really curious at some point in time to see exactly how that stood, because she survived. The risk that she took at Jericho. She became the great-great-grandmother of King David. She was a prostitute. God can use you in all the ripples that you create. You know, if you stop and think about it, I don't know that our true date of death is actually true if we've created ripples. If we've created ripples. I think about my parents, and I know the ripples they created throughout their life. I ran across one today, and I didn't know this about my dad, but I can't remember what Rita and I were making. And she looked at it, had to be some sort of sandwich with some sort of mayonnaise or mustard or whatever on it. And she says, "Take that all the way to the edge." What do you mean? It doesn't matter. No, your father told me at one time he loved it when the dressings, the mayonnaise, the mustard, whatever was on the bread, went all the way to the edge. So he got the full flavor. And so now, every time I make a sandwich or toast or whatever I make for myself or for my wife, I think about it. Take it all the way to the edge. So the flavor goes throughout the entire sandwich, every bite you take. What about that for you? Well, that changed the way you actually make a sandwich, and it changed what I do. And I think about it every time you say, "Sam, well, you're being silly." No, I'm not. It's a ripple effect, and it brings back a loving memory of my father. And it sends out ripples. What are the ripples that you're going to send out today? Kindness. Where does it end? Where does the ripple effect of your kindness end? No one knows. Same is true of grace and love and courage. The ripple effect of Josheb. It's 2025, folks. Ripple effect. Give it a generation, 2, 18. What you do, the love that creates a ripple effect, the grace, the strength, the courage, may actually incite an incident that changes the course of history. I believe every person we come in contact with is a divine appointment. Every person we come in contact with, God had a reason for us to come in contact with them. It's a divine appointment. What have we done to create a ripple effect with that person? It could be a chance encounter in a grocery store. It could be on a webinar. It could be at work. It could anywhere. Everyone we come in contact with is a divine appointment. When I work at the port and I check people in, I have no idea who's going to stand in front of me. I have no idea what's going through their head. I have no idea whether they're first-time cruisers. I have no idea. No idea what they struggled through to get there, how they struggled to pay for the cruise, how they struggled to stand before me at that time. What's my job? Plain and simple, check them in. Okay? But I can do that with grace and love and a smile so that when they get checked in, there's a calm assurance when they get on the ship. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. I have direction, and I'm confident that I know what the next step for me is. You never know. I mean, you can go read the story of Rick Warren before he became a best-selling author, by the way. His church, Saddleback Church, initiated a building campaign. He desired to set a standard. So Pastor Rick and his wife pledged what was an equal amount to about 3 years of his salary. Okay? Shortly before the pledge, he had signed a 2-book deal. Hadn't written them. Hadn't become a best-selling author to write The Purpose-Driven Church and The Purpose-Driven Life. Guess how much the advance was? Yeah. The same dollar amount as the pledge. God is faithful. God is faithful. When we become passionate about the things God is passionate about and sacrifice to follow those dreams, we can create ripples in His kingdom, not ours. We can create ripples in God's kingdom that last forever. Last time we talked about overcoming our fears and dreaming again. This week is about having the courage to make those dreams come to pass. To make those dreams come to pass. Do you have the courage? Courage is not the lack of fear. Courage is standing in the face of fear. Courage is standing up when all others run. You're just as scared as they are. I'm just as scared as they are. But we stand and face the lion. Benaiah did. Chase the lion. We have to stand and face our 500-pound lion if we want to create those lasting ripples. Trust me, the ripples you create today will go on for many, many, many generations. Your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, your great-great-grandchildren, and beyond. What will they say? What will my great-granddaughter Ainsley say about her Grandpa Sam? What kind of ripples am I creating in her life? What kind of ripples am I creating in my grandkids' lives, my kids' lives yet today? What kind of ripples have I created? Well, I look at my life and I know I've made some mistakes. We're not perfect. I've made some mistakes. And some of the ripples did not have good consequences. Maybe it tipped the boat over for a time or two. Maybe you've tipped the boat over. Swamped the boat. Created that ripple that created a firestorm for good or for evil. But it's never too late. It's never too late to create the ripples that positively impact others' lives with courage and grace and peace and love. But you cannot do that if you do not have and have not experienced the saving grace of Jesus Christ. That's what it's all about. If you have not experienced, if you have not accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, admitted that you're a sinner, I'm a sinner, ask for forgiveness for that sin and ask God to direct your footsteps so that you may live a life according to the scriptures, according to the love of God, according to his perfect will for your life, then you're between a rock and a hard place. Quite frankly, you're going to hell. There's no other way to say that. So I would encourage you, before we leave here today, we're going to say a prayer. We're going to pray about salvation. Very simple prayer. I was raised in a church where you had to do all sorts of things. You had to raise your hand, and then you had to come down when the pastor called you, and then, somebody prayed for you, and it's not that difficult, folks. It's very, very simple. Very, very simple. It's a very simple prayer, and if you'll pray that with me, I'll pray it with you right now. Our Father in heaven, I'm a sinner. Please forgive my sin. I believe and recognize that Jesus Christ came, lived a sinful life, born of a virgin, died on the cross at Calvary, and on the third day rose again for my sins. I've repented of that sin. Please direct my footsteps and help me to become more Christ-like each day. I ask this in his precious name. Amen. Now, if you've prayed a prayer or something similar to that or with me, please let me know. Comment, reach out to me. There'll be an email address in the comments somewhere, aliveandatpeace@gmail.com. And reach out to me, and I'll reach out and we'll talk. I'm not going to try and sell you anything, not going to do anything like that. If this has spoken to you, please share. Please share it. Please comment. If you have questions, please comment. Don't hesitate to reach out. Let's make positive ripples. Let's change the world. One pebble at a time. One ripple at a time. This has been Pastor Sam Benaiah Chapel. Live intentionally. Be very, very blessed, my friends. We'll see you next time.